There comes a moment in every man's life when the silence grows too loud, when the reflection in the mirror becomes unbearable, and the weight of wasted time crushes his chest. That moment is not a tragedy, it's a choice, a spark, a savage call from deep inside that whispers, "You were not born to be average." But most men, they don't hear it. They drown it out with distractions, with comfort, with the numbness of routine. But for the few who listen, who embrace that pain like a brother, the transformation begins. This world will never hand you greatness wrapped in silk. You will have to rip it from its jaws, bleeding, broken, unbowed. No one is coming. And once that truth hits you, not like a suggestion, but like a fist, your real life begins. I remember lying on a thin mattress, staring at a cracked ceiling, wondering if life had already decided who I was allowed to be. The world around me offered no handouts, no warm encouragement, just cold indifference. And deep down I knew it. If I didn't rise, I'd rot. I wasn't special, I had no safety net, no godfather, no favors. But I had a decision to make. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision. I would become the man I saw in my mind, or I would die trying. There would be no middle ground. That was the night the weak version of me began to die. Slowly, painfully, one decision at a time. Every morning after that, I woke up at war, not with the world, with myself. People talk about fear like it's some enemy. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is the compass. If it scares you, it's exactly where you need to go. The version of you hiding behind excuses, comfort, and someday needs to be hunted down and destroyed. Every excuse is a quiet betrayal. Every hesitation, a tiny death. There is no tomorrow, no later, no perfect moment. There is only now, and every second you stall, another man moves ahead of you, takes what could have been yours, lives the life you pretended to want. I didn't wait for permission. I moved. I acted with violent urgency because I knew time doesn't wait. Time kills slowly, quietly, without mercy. I wasn't motivated every day. That's a lie the weak tell themselves. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Discipline is the fire that doesn't go out. The truth is, I didn't feel like grinding. I didn't feel like getting punched in the face, cutting weight, losing sleep. But I did it anyway. Not because I'm special, but because I understood something most never will. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort is a soft pillow that suffocates dreams. Every day you choose it, you die a little more. I chose pain. I chose sacrifice. And in that, I found freedom, power, a life so sharp it cuts through mediocrity like a blade. You think you're tired? You're not tired. You're undisciplined. Real exhaustion is earned. It's a privilege for those who bled for their future. You haven't earned the right to be tired if you spent your days chasing distractions and calling it balance. I've been through days with hunger in my gut and doubt in my head. Days where quitting would have felt like peace. But I didn't stop. I sharpened my mind like a weapon. I turned fear into fuel. I trained. I studied. I built my body into armor, my mind into a fortress. I made a vow to never be average again. There was a point when I realized something deeper. The fight wasn't out there. It was in here. It wasn't me versus them. It was me versus the weak, scared, lazy version of myself. That coward had to die. Every workout was a funeral. Every early morning was a burial. Every sacrifice, a bullet in the skull of the man I used to be. I wasn't chasing money or fame. I was chasing evolution. I was at war with my own limitations. That is the battle most men never fight, and that's why they lose before they even begin. If you're not fighting for your future, you're surrendering it. Some people say I'm too intense, too obsessed. They say I've lost touch with fun. Let me tell you something. Fun is a lie. Fun is the anesthesia of the failing, the drug of the distracted. You think I became a champion by chasing fun? I replaced fun with discipline, replaced pleasure with progress. And when I did, I discovered something insane. Being disciplined is fun. Outperforming everyone is fun. Beating the man in the mirror is fun. The truth is, nothing is more addictive than results. The dopamine hit of winning lasts longer than any party, any drink, any high. You were built for more. You know it. You feel it when you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why nothing's changing. You think you're waiting for the right moment, but what you're really doing is avoiding the war inside you. Stop waiting. Burn the ships. Kill the coward. There is no backup plan, no second act. Life is not a rehearsal. Every second you hesitate is a second you will never get back. And one day that hesitation will turn into regret. And regret is a prison with no door. You will live there forever, knowing you could have been more and chose not to be. No one gets to escape the cost. There's always a price. The only question is whether you pay it in discipline now or regret later. I chose to bleed now so I wouldn't suffer later. I chose to crawl through hell so I could walk in heaven. And make no mistake, I am not special. I wasn't born into this. I earned it, every inch, every scar, every ounce of respect. I paid in sweat, in tears, in silence. And when the world gave me nothing, I took everything. Because that's what lions do. They don't beg, they hunt. And if you want to become that kind of man, you better learn to bite. You're not behind because of the world. You're behind because of you. Every decision you make is a vote for the man you're becoming. Every time you snooze the alarm, you vote for weakness. Every time you quit early, you vote for mediocrity. But every time you rise, every time you push, you cast a vote for greatness. This war is you versus you, and the savage wins. There was a time when all I had was a dream and a cold floor to sleep on. No friends cheering me on, no luxuries to fall back on, just raw hunger in my chest and fire in my gut. I wasn't waiting to be rescued because I knew no one was coming. I made a vow in that silence. I would build a life so powerful, so undeniable, that the world would have no choice but to take notice. Not through luck, not through handouts, but through relentless action. While others rested, I moved. While others scrolled, I sharpened. I didn't have time for games. I was too busy building an empire from the ashes of my excuses. People always ask, how did you do it? The answer is simple. I never stopped. I never let weakness win. Even when I was broke, even when I was broken, I moved. Raw action solves everything. When I had no clue how to make money, I didn't sit and complain. I ran. I trained. I lifted. I hustled. I couldn't afford to be idle because idle men are prey. When the world tells you to wait, you don't. You dance in the rain if you have to. You fight through the fog. Even if the odds are against you, you act. Because action is proof. Action is faith in motion. It says, I don't care how I feel. I care where I'm going. The world today is full of men with soft minds and empty calendars. They want the results without the repetition. They want success without sweat. They want a warrior's life with a civilian's habits. That's not how it works. Your competition isn't sleeping. They're not scrolling. They're not taking days off to find themselves. They're building legacies. While you procrastinate, they dominate. While you doubt yourself, they close deals. And the cruel truth is, life doesn't slow down because you're uncertain. It will move on without you. And one day you'll look around and realize you're surrounded by men who acted while you hesitated. And that's the moment regret will devour you. You think you're safe because you're comfortable? Comfort is the slowest form of suicide. It lulls you, numbs you, kills your urgency. It whispers that you have time when you don't. Comfort is the lie that keeps you average. Every day you wake up without hunger, without fire, you're decaying. You are either building or rotting. There is no middle. Time is not your friend. It's the assassin behind the curtain, creeping closer every second. And when it strikes, there will be no negotiation, no do-over, no mercy. All you'll be left with is the life you settled for. And if that doesn't scare you, you're already lost. The man who truly rises is the one who doesn't flinch when life gets violent. He doesn't run from fear, he walks toward it. Fear isn't weakness, it's the map to your greatness. Every time you feel fear, that's your soul pointing toward the next level. But most of you run. You make excuses, you retreat. You call it self-care. I call it self-sabotage. Because you already know where your greatness lives. It's in the discomfort, in the chaos, in the grind. And until you embrace that, you will always be a slave to your potential. untouched, unused, forgotten, like a blade that never knew war. At some point, you have to decide what matters more, your excuses or your future. You can't serve both. And if you think you can wait until everything lines up perfectly, you'll die waiting. There is no perfect time. There is only now. You think the successful waited for clarity, for motivation, for signs from the universe? They moved anyway. They built while scared. They acted while tired. They refused to let circumstances define them. And that's what separates winners from the forgotten. They didn't ask for less fear. They asked for more courage. They didn't hope for ease. They prepared for war. When I stopped drinking, it wasn't because I had a problem. It was because I had a purpose. I realized the pursuit of fun was the poison, the illusion. People think success is about adding more cars, more parties, more noise. But real power comes from subtracting. Strip away the comfort, remove the distractions, kill the crutches. All that's left is you, raw, focused, unstoppable. I gave up fun because I found joy in domination, joy in precision, joy in pushing past my limits. And when I leaned into discipline, I discovered a version of myself I never knew existed. Ruthless, relentless, untouchable. People laughed when I said I was going to be world champion before I even had a local title. They called me arrogant, delusional. But let me tell you this, belief is the foundation of everything. Before I was anybody, I spoke it into existence. Not because I needed others to believe in me, but because I needed to hear my own voice say it with conviction. Your words are seeds. Plant them with doubt, and you'll harvest failure. Speak with fire, and you'll forge destiny. Stop waiting for evidence. Become the proof. Even before the world claps, you better stand tall and say, I am him. You have to live like God is watching, because he is. Every lazy moment, every shortcut, every wasted opportunity, it's not just a failure of ambition, it's a failure of honor. You think your ancestors bled, starved, and fought for centuries just so you could be average? Just so you could waste away scrolling on a couch built by better men? They endured hell so you could rise. And every day you don't, you spit on their sacrifice. That should haunt you. That should burn through your chest. Your bloodline didn't survive plagues and wars for you to be soft. You owe them more. You owe yourself more. And if you ever find yourself looking in the mirror, ashamed, broken, behind, it's not over. The beauty of being a man is that you can rebuild. You can rise. You can be disgusting today and a monster tomorrow. But first, you must accept the truth. Not sugarcoat it, not hide from it. Accept that you've been weak, lazy, cowardly, and then do something about it. That's the difference between men who become legends and men who rot in silence. One decides he's done with excuses. The other keeps telling himself he has time. Most people will never know what it feels like to be fully alive. They exist in a fog, half awake, half willing, half dead. They never chase their edge. They never meet the beast that lives inside them because they're terrified of what it will cost. But I've been there. I've stared down my own limits. I've crawled through the darkness with nothing but purpose in my heart. And that's where you find your real self. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in the war zone of your potential. When your lungs burn, your muscles scream, and your mind begs for mercy, that's when you are forged. That's where greatness is born. If you don't kill the weak voice inside you, it will kill everything else. It's not loud, it's subtle. It tells you to take a day off, to relax, to sleep in. That voice is a serpent, hissing comfort in your ear, wrapping around your soul, until one day you wake up wondering where your ambition went. I learned early that the enemy isn't out there. It's in here. It wears your face. It speaks in your voice. And if you don't shut it up, it becomes your reality. The graveyard is full of men who listen to that voice, full of dreams that died because someone was too scared to suffer. That's why I say, don't just flirt with your potential. Marry it. Commit to it like your life depends on it, because it does. Potential is not a trophy you hang on a wall. It's a demand. It's an obligation. And if you ignore it, it will haunt you forever. You'll hear it in the silence. You'll see it in the eyes of better men. You'll feel it every time you lie to yourself that you're doing okay. No, you're not okay. You're average. You're playing small. You were built for more, and you know it. So stop pretending. Stop hiding. Burn the mask and become the monster you were born to be. Do you think lions care how tired they are? Do you think warriors skip war because their feelings got hurt? They rise, they bleed, they conquer, and so must you. You're not here to coast. You're not here to scroll. You're not here to settle. You are here to dominate, to build something that echoes long after you're gone. You are here to carry the weight of greatness with pride, not to drop it every time life gets heavy. This isn't a game. This is your legacy. Every move you make is carving it in stone, and you better pray it's something worth remembering. I see men trying to negotiate with time, trying to buy back the years they wasted. You can't. Time doesn't do refunds. It only collects. Every second you hesitate, you're writing the story of your own failure. And one day, you'll be forced to read that story back, line by line, excuse by excuse, while everything you could have been burns in front of you. You don't need more time. You need more fire. You need urgency in your veins, rage in your bones. You need to wake up every day and ask yourself, what if this was the last day I had to become who I was meant to be? Because one day it will be. Discipline is not punishment. It's the ultimate form of self-respect. When I train, when I grind, when I bleed, it's not because I hate myself. It's because I refuse to betray myself. I made a pact, a blood oath with the man I want to become. And every day I train, I'm casting a vote for him. Every rep, every decision, every sacrifice is a prayer whispered to the future. I will not be ordinary. I will not fade quietly. I will rise or I will die trying. That's the mantra of kings. That's the mindset of warriors. That's the frequency of gods. You must stop asking the world for permission. You must stop waiting for the stars to align. Alignment is a lie. Perfection is a lie. The only truth is motion. The only requirement is hunger. Every empire begins with a decision. Every champion begins with a choice. The moment you say, I am done being average, the world shifts. Not because it cares, but because you start to care enough to break it apart with your bare hands. And once you start moving like you're ready to tear down walls, people either follow or get out of the way. I've learned that every pain I endured was a test, every failure, a lesson, every betrayal, a sharpening. Life isn't here to hand you anything. It's here to prepare you for what you were built to conquer. But most of you miss the lesson. You get bitter instead of better. You whine instead of win. You take failure personally instead of using it as fuel. That's why you're stuck. That's why you're drowning in mediocrity, choking on comfort, dying while pretending to be alive. But the second you flip the switch, the second you say, I will not be this man one more day, everything changes. Not overnight, but inevitably. I never needed someone to push me. I was self-lit. I was my own fire. I was the storm. I wasn't made in comfort. I was carved in chaos. Every setback just made me sharper. Every loss made me more dangerous. I became the villain to my own weakness. I hunted it, starved it, broke it down until it had nothing left. And when I stood victorious in front of my own reflection, I realized I was just getting started. The mountain was never the goal. It was the warm-up. The battlefield is forever. The hunger never ends. Because once you taste power, you'll never crave comfort again. So here you are, boss, standing at the edge of the mirror, at war with your own reflection. The question isn't, can you rise? The question is, will you? Because the clock doesn't care. The world doesn't care. But your legacy does. Your bloodline does. That stronger version of you is out there, watching, waiting, demanding that you step up. And whether you do or don't, that version of you either becomes real or dies in your silence. The battle is on, and only one version of you will survive.